Well, today, Holy Spirit Church, we've got another interview about our transformative spiritual habit. And today I get to talk to Emma Zeek, who is our rector's warden this year. And Emma, you've been at Holy Spirit for a while. I think you've been here longer than I have. Do you know how many years you've been coming to Holy Spirit?
We started coming, I think, in like later 2010 or 2011.
Okay.
So it's been a long time.
Yeah, you definitely. I didn't come to September 2012, so you have longer tenure. Good stuff.
Yes.
Well, thanks, Emma, for taking some time out of your day to talk to me about a transformative spiritual habit. So what habit did you want to talk about today that you've found that the Lord has used to transform you?
Sure. I think the one that came to mind was the idea of kind of morning Bible reading, Bible study time.
Mm-hmm.
So not anything too advanced, I don't feel like, but I think that's been a good one in terms of just developing over the last couple of years.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I feel like a lot of these that we're doing aren't like, I don't even know what an advanced spiritual habit would be, but it's good. I feel like I'm still at a 101 level. So how did you learn about like this habit? How did you come across it and eventually decide that you wanted to adopt it for yourself?
I had been trying to develop something like that for a long time. I think in various forms, and I could just never really get anything to stick.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually got a lot of good suggestions from Ann Chu, who's another member of Holy Spirit,
Mm-hmm.
on kind of different ways to start a habit and then kind of maintain it, which they were new to me, and it was helpful to kind of get that insight from somebody else who had some good ideas.
Yeah. I'm curious. Any major tidbits about how to kind of start and keep a habit going that come to mind?
So I think the biggest things were just kind of having an intentional plan laid out ahead of time. So I think my habit before was just to kind of flip Bible open and see where we landed for today and try to kind of, pick out something meaningful for the day. And I think it was just really random and it was hard to stick with because, just wasn't a good plan. So I think what she had suggested was, kind of having an orderly way of moving through the books, whether it was starting with, the first four gospels, then moving through letters, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just having that pre-planned setup meant just a little less thinking, one less choice to make, at the front side. And then just in terms of thinking of it as one book, one kind of cohesive text, I think that was helpful too, kind of going through things in a logical order.
Great. Well, thanks for that. So what does this habit look like for you? Like, can you just kind of run us through what it means for you to have these morning Bible readings?
Sure. So, like I said, with Anne's help, it could kind of come up with a sort of pre-planned route through. So in my case, I've been alternating a gospel with a New Testament letter. So going through in order that way. And then I also have kind of a pre-planned amount of reading. So for me, it's just one chapter every morning.
Okay.
So it's just preset that way. And I think I try to be unrushed or kind of unhurried about that. So if I feel like one chapter is longer or there's kind of a lot of meat in it or something like that I want to spend more time on, I'll do that. So I'll kind of reread the same chapter maybe a couple mornings in a row, just to give it a little more attention.
Yeah.
And then I think another part of it is trying to kind of focus on inviting Jesus to help me understand the confusing parts or kind of see opportunities for application. So in my discipleship group, we had read through My Heart, Christ's Home a while ago. And some parts that feel a little cheesy, but I think there's this image of him kind of waiting in the library every morning, like, hey, I look forward to this too, and this is like meaningful time for me too. And for whatever reason, that image has really stuck with me, and that's helped. Maybe when I feel like sleeping in or feel like I don't have time, and just having that component. helps it be more of a priority, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes me think of just how important kind of our imagination is, that we're not just like input machines that are like, oh, I'm just going to stuff enough facts in here and that'll motivate me. But having that picture, and I think changes even our understanding of these habits that, another way to talk about them is spiritual disciplines, but that can like, certainly when I sit at my breakfast table in the morning, more often than I would like to admit, it's kind of like, I've got to do this work because nobody else is going to do it, or I don't know. It's not a very great image, but yeah, that kind of picture in the mind of, hey, Jesus is right there too, and he's looking forward to this. That does change things, make it a little bit more positive. I also appreciate just your kind of the grace that you infuse your structure with, that it's not like, no, one chapter because I've got this like goal I've got to get through. It's kind of like, oh, well, I'm really wanting to meet Jesus here, so I'm willing to come back to this chapter, or maybe cut this reading short to spend more time with it, or whatever. That's really good, as we just try to navigate between pride and guilt or shame of just having grace in all these different areas. It's good. Good stuff. So if somebody were really intrigued by this and just your presentation of it and wanted to get started, what would your recommendations be? What are some good first steps for them to take?
So for myself, what worked was I started with Matthew chapter 1. And when I finished Matthew, I started with Acts chapter 1.
Okay.
And then went back to Mark, and then to Romans, and kind of so on. So that worked for me. Another starting point might work well for someone else. I think to defining a really achievable goal. So like I said, in my case, just one chapter helped it feel more doable. So, deciding what's maybe reasonable for you, and getting that done every day, and kind of feel more accomplished when I finished, rather than, oh, did I like do enough? Did I read enough? I spent enough time on this. That kind of helped with kind of maintaining it over time. So, and maybe go talk to Anne. She has a lot of great ideas.
There you go. Do you have a set place in your morning schedule where this happens, or like in your routines?
Yeah, it usually happens like while waiting for the coffee pot.
Okay.
Something like that. So again, it's not like a huge chunk of time, but tried to find somewhere in the morning that was kind of otherwise unoccupied. And it happens every day. So it didn't matter if, maybe I slept in a little bit later, or if I wasn't going to work that day or something, like, right, that little chunk of time happens every single day. So it was a little bit protected in that way.
Yep. Harnessing that caffeine addiction for the Lord. That's good. Yeah. It seems like from talking to other people, kind of like you said, of kind of planning ahead to take as much anxiety or like thought out of the moment, so you can actually focus on the habit. So, picking what you're going to read ahead of time, how much you're going to read, and also where in the day. So you're not, when I put myself in those moments, I don't have what it takes in the moment to do all that work. But if I've set up the structure better, then I'm actually more likely to do this habit. So
yeah, I've been reading a lot about like setting up your environment, right, to make the thing that you want to do be the easiest thing to do.
Yeah,
I feel like doing all those things ahead of time does kind of make it just, I'm just gonna sit down and it's all here and I know what I'm doing, and makes it easier.
cool. So if you've already said that Anne would be a great resource. If people also want to reach out to you as a resource, would you be willing to talk to anybody who's interested in this?
Sure, I would.
Great. All right. Well, thanks very much, Emma, for giving us some time and talking to us about this transformative spiritual habit.
Thank you.